Welcome to the Working Moms of San Antonio podcast. We're your hosts, Erika Radis and Marie Lifschultz, a realtor and lender here in San Antonio, but most importantly, we're working moms just like you.
This podcast is all about creating a space where we can come together, share stories, and learn from each other. We love connecting with local moms in business, hearing about their journeys and how they're balancing it all. Because let's be honest, it's not always easy, but it's so worth it.
Before we dive into today's episode, we're excited to share some big news with you all.
Our business community and co-working memberships are officially open. Whether you're looking for a supportive community of moms in business or need a beautiful space to work and grow, we've got just what you need here at Working Moms of San Antonio. You can visit the link in our show notes or workingmomsofsanantonio.com/membership for more info.
Now, on to today's episode. Grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's get started.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Working Moms of San Antonio podcast. Today, we are joined by our guests, the gals behind the company, Elbow Room. And so I'm going to turn it over to both of them to kind of introduce themselves and then just talk about the company.
Well, I'm Erin Callahan. I'm the co-founder of Elbow Room, and that's what I do. I really focus on Elbow Room as my baby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my name is Amy Moody. I am the vice president. Most importantly, I'm Erin's sister.
Yes.
We love that.
Yeah.
And next door neighbor.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit more about what Elbow Room is and what you guys do for the community and that kind of stuff.
We are a niche construction builder, and we focus on building small, whether that's a backyard office or an in-law suite or a small house with an ADU behind it, or even a micro community, which is a small plot of land with many small buildings on it. That's what we do. We build that, and we're very good at it. I'm pretty proud of it. And Amy has really been a driving force behind the vast improvement of Elbow Room.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very kind.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how long have y'all been doing it?
Since 2000, and since 2020.
Wow.
We're a COVID-born business, you know.
And how did it come about? Like, what made y'all create Elbow Room?
I think from the philosophy of take whatever is a challenge, because that's where there is opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge was we didn't have enough space. You know, there's a lot of kids in the house. We got work papers and all the things that are just kind of draining down and taking your space. And I said to my husband, hey, I need a place to go do my art and do my work.
Yeah.
And go build me a she shed.
Yeah.
And so then it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and I got it more fancy, and let's do LVP, and I want it drywall to make sure it's watertight, and I wanted special lighting, and our neighbors noticed it, and they loved it, and we said, that's going to be our business. We're going to start building these little elbow rooms.
Well, I think that happened in 2020 when everybody was at home working.
gosh,
I was working from home. I had the boys at home from school. Oh my God, there's too many people in the house.
Yeah, and I think my husband was like...
My house got really small.
Yeah.
You could only travel and leave the house for like essential travel. Remember that?
Yes.
And if you could go, you could go to Home Depot. And I think it was his excuse to get out of the house to go buy stuff at Home Depot for our new budding business.
Mine too. He was always at Home Depot.
Yeah.
But again, the house got really, really small
Right.
because everybody was home 24/7.
Yeah.
And trying to work and concentrate and help with school, online school, became an issue for a lot of people. So that makes a lot of sense that, hey, I need my space, to do whatever, to have that extra room in the back.
Yeah. And COVID really drove multi-generational living.
Mm-hmm.
So even though Amy and I don't live in the same house, at the time when COVID happened, I lived down the street, and then we had Snowmageddon, and it was so far.
Yeah.
It was just like walking down the street felt forever away. And we kind of came up with the idea we're going to live next door. So it is still kind of living in each other's backyard, which is what a lot of our customers have been driven to do. They want to live really close to their parent or to their sister, or they have an adult child that needs support.
Sure.
And so it's just a very natural inclination to build these small buildings behind your house and then have someone live in it.
I think that's the thing over the last few years is we keep seeing things happening from pandemics where, the elderly who are living in assisted living, you can't go and visit them.
No.
For good reason.
Yeah.
And now people are thinking, well, I really want to have mom and dad close by when they're aging. And so like having a little extra space in the backyard where the parent still feels very independent, yet they're investing in their own property as opposed to just pouring it into some facility that they'll never see that rent back.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely. I think that's the reason I actually bought my home. We lived outside of town near Helotes, and my parents lived in town. It wasn't far, wasn't a lot of miles, but it took me 40. I remember one evening my dad called and said, "Hey, your mom fell and I can't get her up. I need help."
Oh.
So I'm like, "Okay, I'm on my way. I'm coming," and I'm just going up Bandera 45 minutes
Right.
just to get there, and she wasn't that far away. And I'm like, "Oh, we're moving." So I intentionally bought my home with the thought process of if they needed to move, I had it's a split level home. They had a small space that would fit for them. And then we started thinking, oh, we need to add something in the
Right.
back for them to, I mean, they were very capable of living on their own, but there was a circumstance they need a little more extra help.
Yeah.
Where you could kind of, be
We
there for
see
them.
younger families doing this as well, whose parents are still more than capable of living independently, but they're planning for the future and knowing they need the help now with their little kids.
Yes.
So we see that a lot too.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's beneficial. The multi-generational living is a blessing for any family.
And it's
Like,
huge right now.
It's huge. I mean,
both of us are in real estate, and to have like an additional ADU at the back for mom or grandma or whomever adds incredible value to your property. And those houses fly off the market. If you can find one
Right.
that has that in the back, I mean, they go right away.
well, even if you have an adult child who's
Yeah.
maybe in college or, maybe can't afford a home just yet, at least they have their space and able to come and go, and it gives them some independence, right?
Yeah, that happened at my house.
So I love that show, Love on the Spectrum.
Yeah.
And my favorite guy is Connor.
Oh.
And he spends all this time in the backyard talking about the ADU that his parents are building for him.
Oh,
And it's just so awesome because it is about having that independence and that closeness.
yes.
So I just always have to bring up Love on the Spectrum.
Yeah.
Such a great show.
Well, I've looked at you gals' website, and these are not she sheds.
No.
These are fancy, real life, little homes. And so can you talk to us a little bit about kind of what differentiates you guys from some of the other like tiny home type stuff happening out there now?
You want to take that question?
Oh, yeah. I think we've put an incredible amount of time into getting the right product in the right space and getting the right use of the limited floor space that you have from the product we're selling. And we did that by working with local architect group that has really similar values as us. We work with a local design firm, again, really similar values with us. They understand the product we're trying to put out there, which is modern, clean, terrific style, quality. It's going to last. It's not something people want to spend more time on once it's in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And then thinking about, okay, well, why we have 4 different models, and why is the Linda so particularly popular? Well, we think it complements a lot of existing homes, and it fits right for when you're not wanting your ADU to overwhelm the
Right.
backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But as we're growing and we're seeing that people have vacation properties where they'd like to get maybe the guest house on the property before they build that dream home out there,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe they want a couple little rental spots and they just need to get going. Well, now we have other designs that we think really work in those spaces. These could certainly go in your backyard, but they have a little bit more substance to them. That would be like our Jane. We have an Austin where we have a rooftop deck,
Oh.
and that can fit really well in a really tight urban space, as well as like where you have really terrific hill country views.
Right.
Well, Linda was my choice for my house when I looked at it.
Yeah.
I was telling my husband about it. I'm like, look, this would fit in the backyard. We just got to move our old shed and put that there. We can put it here, and it works great.
It really does complement
yeah.
what's already existing in most backyards and most homes. So we do see that a
Well,
lot.
I have an older home, a 1970s home, and even though it's very modern, it fits in with the structure of the house very, very well.
Yeah.
Right.
So yes.
I
like it.
think what really differentiates us from our competitors and other people, I mean, there's tons of space in this space. There are lots of people that build, they have prefab units,
Sure.
other people that build in the backyard. We have custom builders, people that convert sheds. That's not us.
Yeah.
What we do is we bring an incredibly high quality end product and we deliver it with a turnkey service. So it has all the benefits of luxury construction, high quality construction, with the hand in hand of we take care of it for you.
Yeah.
So the customer has a great experience at the beginning of the whole entire process. They pick the model, they pick the size, they know the price.
Yeah.
It's very transparent. Our price is online. You go on our configurator and you figure out what model you like, and you just make a series of choices, and that's your price.
Yeah.
And the only additional thing to that would be, electrical connections, because that changes from
Location to location.
location to location.
Sure.
But otherwise, you know what you're going to pay. And then you get to make more choices. You pick your exterior features. You pick your interior package. Amy worked with Up & Co., a local designer company. They won awards, and they're really great. And they made 6 different interior design packages, from Japani to farmhouse to modern, contemporary,
Sure.
luxe, all the different things that you could possibly think of, so that the customer is able to customize it, make it their own, and then they turn it over to us and we take care of it.
Oh, I
and
love
we're
that.
very, very efficient and specialized, because it takes a certain mindset to build in someone's backyard.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we do. That's how we're different.
That's a good answer.
Well,
That was really
Yeah.
good.
It was, but you know what? I don't think people, if you've never had construction or renovations of any sort, you talking about having someone in your backyard. I've had extensive renovations to my home,
Right.
pool building and so forth.
Right.
And the headache of it was not fun. So, and because no communication, that kind of stuff. And so I'm not understanding the transparency of stuff was they weren't transparent.
Right.
On how the cost and so forth. So it was very frustrating. So having someone who kind of handhold you and walk you through the process, it makes the experience much more enjoyable.
I think a key thing that we've learned in the last couple years especially is where we want to really spend our time with our client. And what we're really kind of working towards is really putting in that time up front.
Right.
And so we're really bringing the client into that planning part with us, and like the decision making about really how they want it to look and feel in the end. And again, we start with a really great platform. So they have a really strong understanding of these are the best possible layouts. And why don't you go ahead and pick between these? Because I can guarantee you my architects and engineers have thought this out far longer and better
Right.
than we ever could. And we've challenged it in every way, from the use of under the stairs to every nook and cranny, every ledge in a shower.
Mm-hmm.
And we spend a lot more time in the planning part of it. That way, when we go to construction, you're golden.
Yeah.
Sit
Right.
back and relax.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'm going to get it built. I know what I'm doing. We get our construction manager back there and we get it done. And that allows that customer to take a deep breath and not have to have that feeling of like, what now? What's going to be? Where's it coming from?
Yeah.
Who's here? We got that.
And we take away the uncertainty of what it is to have backyard construction.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a trade-off when you get a high quality product like ours, that it's custom quality. It is that good. But the trade-off is you have to give up some of that control,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
because the way that we're able to manage an efficient build is by putting our processes in place.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got to be there every second and you need to have a phone call for, every time we're going to send somebody out there, we're not for you, because those customers, it's not going to be the same experience for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating because sometimes contractors don't show up on time. But if you leave it to us and we handle those kinds of situations, you don't have to hear about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it.
And that sounds amazing.
You
It
just
does.
have to,
Right. Yes.
all you have to do is leave your backyard open and go to our portal. We have a little portal through a software program called Builder's Trend. And then they send all their messages to us. and we have all that documented, and we send our messages back that way. Of course, we take phone calls and all those things, but it helps us all keep track, stay on the same page.
Sure.
And it's as hands off as it can get for the customer.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we all have so much to worry about every day of our lives. Like, I don't want to have to worry about. In fact, I'm literally having construction done at my house right now, and nobody is there. I mean, they are there, but my husband's not there. I'm not there. It's a gentleman that I got through Marie. We trust him. He shows up on time. He cleans up after himself. But to your point, that's kind of a rarity. You know, we don't see that all the time.
Right.
And so to have somebody kind of dealing with stuff for you, to where I don't have to be home. I just know it's going to happen. It's going to happen well.
Right.
I think that's amazing. That sounds like an amazing choice.
Because, we can't control every single factor of what's happening. Sometimes you got a contractor that goes in there and they do leave trash.
Sure.
Guess what? All you got to do is tell us.
Yeah.
And then
we check it too.
Well, and of course, we do that. But
we know.
It's hard to document every single little second.
Of course.
And all it takes is just a quick phone call, sliding a message through Builder's Trend, and then we go and we take care of it. And we also have built all these processes out so that there's checklists, so that those things don't happen.
Yeah.
As much as we can.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think having a small company, especially a family-owned company, is so much better than your big corporations. You have hands-on attention, that you guys have taken the time, because the customers become family to you guys. You know, you take a true interest in what their end goal is going to be. Erin, what is the typical length of time for construction for most of the tiny homes?
Amy, answer that.
Do
Yeah. So, I mean, when it's kind of two parts.
Okay.
There's the planning part and permitting, right? And then there's actual build time.
Mm-hmm.
And most of our units for the ADUs, ones that are livable spaces, they have plumbing and they have electric ran to them. Those typically in the construction phase are going to take somewhere around 3-4 months.
Okay.
And we're going to be fair on weather. A little bit of rain, but San Antonio, right?
Got it.
And in the planning phase, kind of depends on what county we're working with. And there's a lot of little subsets. So, I mean, like Castle Hills is its own thing. Chavano's its own thing.
Sure.
Yeah. Dominion's its own thing. The extra HOA stuff, right? Austin. It's going to be, it's going to snide about Austin.
They've done a lot to make it easier, and they're really trying hard.
Yeah.
Getting all that things into motion is a completely different.
They have the right vision.
Yes.
The paperwork, the digital world, and the vision have not aligned yet.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the permitting part, again, we're looking at 4 to 6 weeks in an ideal world. Again, hey, Austin, you're special. And then the planning part, which is as fast as you'll work with us.
Okay.
So that might be 7 days. I mean, we know what we've got. We're quick.
Yeah.
And again, we streamline it so you get to make the right decisions. You don't need to know every wall switch, but because I guarantee you I've thought it out. And I have. Yeah. But you do get to, hey, this tile, this faucet.
Sure.
And it's a look, right? So it makes it even easier.
Yeah.
It's like a package. So, that the planning stage could be as quick as, let's say, 6 to 8 weeks, and then construction 3-4 months. If I'm just doing what we would call flex, a small space, it's just a backyard office, it's a home gym, I'm not running plumbing. I mean, we can build those in as quick as 3 to 4 weeks. And I don't permit most of those. So it's really a quick process.
I'm just asking because it's very extremely reasonable. Even 4 to 6 months is reasonable.
Right.
When you talk to some custom home builders, you're 18 months out. And you're having to deal with leaving the backyard open or having your dogs inside, whatever the case is, for a very, very long period of time.
Right.
But 4 to 6 months, that's not horrible at all.
No,
we don't think so.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I think, switching mindsets, like when you are the client, it's hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to have an entire home, although it's smaller than your existing home. It's still an entire home. It's all the same layers of the envelope that your primary home is that ADU.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard when you have to put the dogs away, the kids away, and, having this very unfinished product in your backyard.
Yeah.
But I think it's very worth it in the end. And we really try to look at pool companies as a good model because we it's a really similar pricing. It's similar level of project, they also go through permitting. And so, we try to understand it in that same feeling of like, you can be really glad you got that swimming pool. You can be really glad you have this space.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also feel like that amount of time is reflective of the quality of work you must be doing, because
Absolutely.
in real estate, a lot of these new construction neighborhoods that are building full-size homes can slap a home together in 4 months. And I mean, we know what those look like. And
Right.
so, I mean, it's they look nice, but you don't know what's happening under there. I know what's happening under there. It is not good. And so it's like, I feel like to take 3 to 6 months to do a tiny home, if I'm paying top dollar for a custom style, situation, I want you to take your time. And I feel like that is taking your time, and so I feel like that's great.
Yeah.
Well, and the value that it adds to your property.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, in general, like if you're looking for maybe an income generating part, some passive income, it's a great investment to your home. It adds value if you're looking to just add I'm not sure how it adds for square footage or living space when it looks at, but it does.
Yes.
It's just something that I know when I'm looking for a home, it's something that I was considering finding something with an ADU. So if you're looking to add value to your home, this is one way of doing it, and it's not horribly expensive.
No, it's not. And it can add as much as 30 to 35% to the value of your property, particularly when the structure's been permitted and it does
The right way.
Yeah, and it does add to your square footage of your home. Even our buildings that are not permitted, even though it doesn't add to the square footage of the house, it still increases the value of the property because it's such a desirable feature.
Yeah. So actually the house that Erin was living in, that was 10 doors down from my house, when she built her she shed. So she sold, really at a great time when all the interest rates were super low. And in our very large neighborhood, her house sold highest per square foot that summer.
Yeah.
And I think
really
it's,
fast.
Again, you can't account for the square footage of your she shed, but it was a massive, I think, upsell on our street.
Absolutely.
In our whole community.
Yeah. It was a people buyer magnet. People just want that little space just for themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's so diverse of what it can be used for.
Yeah.
Right. When people are looking for the extra space for the in-laws or a guest house or an office or a workout space, maybe like in my situation, my garage is full of tools. There's no way I can use that for anything else but that. But having that space for a in-home gym type thing, it would be wonderful to have.
And you mentioned rental income. And so that's like, again, we pride ourselves on thinking about the space as being very flexible. So you may be initially building and buying this for a very specific reason. But then in the long-term use of it, like maybe that adult child moves off and, for whatever reasons, the need for the ADU changes. And then again, there's always that possibility of that rental income. And so this is a feature that we're adding to our website very shortly. We have several clients that rent their space out. We have one who specifically does it for travel nurses.
Yeah.
So cool.
And we're going to add a link so that we can share those properties that are available for rent. And then I'm also building it's a series of townhomes on Walter Street near the Frost Center. And we will list one as a rentable elbow room. And it's very much based on the Jane design. So, and it'll be very similar in the same sizing range that we sell the Janes in. So you can come and try it for yourself and see what you think about it.
Yeah, it's really cool. And we've also started this micro community section of our business. And it's the same idea for our builder, or for our customer, as it is for the backyard. So even if you want to build a whole bunch of little tiny homes onto one little property, it seems like, man, anybody could build a townhome, right? Like, you can do that.
Yeah.
But what we do is we take all that stress off. So you're looking to invest into, some real estate. You want to start having a income churning property.
And fairly quickly,
Actually. Just come talk to us. We'll find out everything that you want and need to do. We'll work with our architects, all that stuff, and then we completely take it from there.
Same kind of mindset. So we're doing one in Austin right now for a great customer. She's starting with 6 and then has several more phases. And then there's my small community on Walter Street of 4. And there's more and more and more interest in things like this. And it's something that we're also hearing from a lot of young people is they want to own something. They don't want to own something enormous.
Yeah.
It's what they can afford right now. And they'd really like to be with friends. So
Yeah.
that's another
How
one.
fun would
It's
that
just-
be, right?
Yeah.
Your first house, like you're there with your 4 best friends.
Yeah, you get a little 4-pack and, you
Well,
know.
commune.
Yeah. I mean, you must know from working moms how important that community is.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like something we were talking about before this. It's just people want to have that good feeling around them.
I think that's changed a lot of it. It's like we had talked recently about the 2020 with
Mhm.
COVID and having community and family around you. I have to say I am fascinated with buying some land and putting a couple of little houses with a little community center in the middle,
Yeah.
and we all can all hang out. Like
Yeah.
that's our own little town. Like we can all kind of
Right.
it's something we've thought about my family for quite some time. But it's something we would like to do. And I don't need a lot of space, but having the small space for us and then family near us, but they have their own unique space and we have our own unique space is very intriguing. Like it's something that we really have
I've always
talked
said
about.
that to my kids. Like, hey, what if
Yeah.
I just like buy land and then I build you a bunch of houses on it? Like, then would you stay by me?
I asked the boys the same exact. They're like, yeah.
Then will you never leave?
We have built on a couple of family compounds,
Yeah.
and they all have something different. Generally, we're adding something new to what's already there. But man, I would sure love to do a whole little tiny house for a bunch of best friends. Oh, that would be so
That'd be
cool.
so
That would be
fun.
cool.
Yeah.
fun.
It'd be a
It'd be
great
so
way
much
to
fun.
own an investment property. It'd be like owning your timeshare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So-
definitely.
Yeah.
And also in thinking about investment properties, I think a key thing that keeps people from actually building is they don't want to have to take care of so much. So like the idea of a 2,500 square foot home is
Yeah.
so overwhelming.
Yes.
It is.
And if
Try
you're
cleaning it.
right. I try not to. But if you think about just this little tiny home, it's got everything you need to go on your trip. You know, you can have your coffee maker, your mattress, your gold, and you got a nice little shower, and you don't have to go in there and renovate. You don't have to do these big things to it. It's all new. It's all energy
Yeah.
efficient. It's ready. I mean, so much of it even we can run on Bluetooth. You can be checking your little we have these little tiny water heaters now, and this great little company. It all works off your phone, and your
That's crazy.
mini splits can be working with your phone. You can get it cooling before you get there.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy.
But I
We-
think it's a great way because right now, I think in our industry, we're seeing a lot of people. I have lots of clients who can want to buy a home, that want to have a space of their own and just can't afford it. So having small communities where they can afford a small home until they're ready to upgrade or whatever, have something of their own is really important. Having that affordable housing.
Yeah. Or
You know?
building a small home in the front
Yeah.
with a small home in the back
Mm-hmm.
at
Right.
the same time. So you can rent one of them out and pay the mortgage for all of it together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
with the way interest rates have gone up, people that previously could have easily bought a home have kind of been priced out in some circumstances. And so something a little smaller, a little bit more reasonable to start, something income producing,
Right.
that's huge.
We
Yeah.
just went to this really large housing convention was it 2 weeks ago in Dallas?
Yeah.
And really the whole focus was on affordable housing. It was really interesting. Erin and I are always trying to see how we fit in that space and fit in our community. And, you know, one of the key takeaways from those 2 days was the idea of affordable housing is so much bigger than we ever
Right.
thought. This is not about the working poor. This is no longer attainable. And
Yeah.
the lack of attainable housing
Yeah.
is ridiculous. It's through the roof.
Yeah.
Yep.
The need is everywhere.
Yes.
I mean, in our community specifically, I feel like, you know, there have been times in the past, and Marie's been doing this for a long time and I have as well. There have been times in the past where things in other parts of the country seem to be negative in that regard. But San Antonio always seemed to be
Well,
a
it's
little
always affordable.
like, a little bubble of like immunity to sort of some of the things that were going on. And it's just not the case anymore.
I really do think, and they talked about this at the conference, that one of the greatest solutions is these little infill communities. So what Amy is building, I would consider like an infill community. There's a great big apartment building, and then there's a bunch of little row houses, and then there's a bunch of old houses, and then there's a church. So it's kind of this one little funky lot that's in the middle of all that, where now there's going to be an opportunity for residences that are going to add to the livability of the city.
Yeah.
And the great thing about San Antonio is that is everywhere. That is all throughout the city. It's in the urban areas. It's out in the suburbs. There is so much opportunity for us to solve the problem.
In my neighborhood, I live near the medical center, so in Oak Hills, and there's tons of just random. The reason we bought our home because I had a large lot.
Yeah.
There's a random lot in our neighborhood that have they've been around since the 70s. And no one's built on them. Like, why hasn't someone done some of those? Like, it just, and it has a beautiful, there's a hill and you can actually see downtown. Like, it's a great view. And no one's really, utilized those lots. I'm like, no, why?
Let's find out who owns that.
I know. Wait a minute.
Who owns that?
See downtown, or you're near downtown.
But yes, you're among some other different homes. And but I think, I'm like, I know in our neighborhood, there's homes that are, when we bought was less than 300,000. You have homes that over $1 million. Like, they're so diverse. So having a lot with 4 small homes would fit right in my opinion, And since I'm in the medical center, the reason I was thinking about having an ADU was my niece, when she was going to nursing school, she lived with my sister at the time, and they lived out in Spring Branch. She goes, Aunt Marie, can I just stay at your house? Because I can just, when I have class, I can just go in. So we have a lot of traveling nurses and doctors that come in that need spaces that they're not here for very long, but it's a good rental income opportunity to have those. And, and they're good tenants, they might rent for a month or whatever, but she would come in and stay. And I'm like, oh, that might be, traveling nurses was a big thing,
right?
Coming in for a little while.
A lot of our customers have a mindset. It's like a dualistic mindset. You're going to have to spend money to make money or spend money to save money. Right. So we have people that are building them specifically to rent them out, or maybe to rent them out in the future. And then people that are downsizing or they're having that multi-generational thing. One thing that we've seen over and over and over again are very capable older parents that are moving onto their children's property, but they're not there to be cared for, or maybe even care for maybe there's no children on the property. They're there to save some money so they can go do the things that they want to do.
Yeah.
I love it every single time I hear a customer say, well, we haven't been staying in it that much because we're off traveling.
Yeah.
So that what they do is they get all this equity from their home and all the other things that they have going on. And then they go live the life that they've been wanting to live.
Yeah.
I just love that for them.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
I think I think as we age, I think we realize that we can live with less. You know what I mean?
Yes.
When you're younger, I think you're like, oh my gosh, I need it all. And we're like a very materialistic society here in America. And it's normal, all of that. We all want the things, right? But then as we get older, it's like you start to realize what's really important to you. Right. And maybe those things are experiences rather than a big old house that you use, 1/4 of or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you don't take it with you in the end.
Yeah.
All you really get is your memories.
That's right.
I've been through situations personally where I have lost all of my stuff.
Sure.
Like I won't go down that road, but
we won't say his name.
I've got, what I had left fit in, the back of a small U-Haul.
Yeah.
And ultimately it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because, you move forward and you make great memories. You do things that are cool, that build up your confidence, all that kind of stuff. Stuff doesn't really matter.
Well, also everything has become so digitized. So like now, you don't need all the photo albums.
Right.
You don't need 80,000 DVDs. Everything is digital. And then a million products have been invented. So like sometimes we have families that are like, I don't know if I want a kitchenette or full kitchen. And I'm like, think about it. Now with air fryers and Instapots, like you don't need big old stovetop burners. You don't need a big old oven. Are you going to host Thanksgiving back here?
Yeah.
That's
so
true. Yeah.
When I was younger, before I got married, I moved all the time, and I lived only in tiny spaces, 500 to 800 square feet. And it is my thing. I love it. I live in a 2,400 square foot home, but it feels huge to me. Yeah. So all the rooms have turned into
nooks,
little nooks, right? Yeah. So we got a gym room, we got the media room, we have my pantry. It's a dining room that's been turned into literally a pantry. Love all that. So as far as the kitchenette thing goes, I don't know if you remember this. When I lived in Houston, I had a 500 square foot apartment. I cooked so little in it that the one time I was like, I'm going to bake some cookies. I didn't realize that they had like a warming thing under, like I I was using the oven partially for storage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. I did that when I was in college too.
Yeah.
You stick your pans under there or whatever.
So 9 months into living there, I hadn't turned on my oven, and the whole entire apartment almost burned down.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
wow.
okay, I'm exaggerating, but the apartment
It
did
did catch fire.
it did catch fire. And
Isn't that a Sex in the City where she stores her shoes in the
And like
oven?
sweaters and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
And this stuff.
yeah, but why have a full kitchen when
Right.
you never use it?
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
get a kitchenette. Put your money into
Well,
something
Erin,
else.
you're also the queen of like utilizing a great service as opposed to owning it. So, I mean, she also would send her laundry out.
Oh,
I mean, this was Houston too. So there were like awesome services, and like you were like, I mean, I could buy a washer and dryer. Like this is years of laundry service by the time I pay for the washer and
Right.
dryer. I mean, it's honestly like a really great mentality because it's, less ownership of things and things weighing you down and more having the time.
Yeah.
Well, and the things
Time.
that you have now, before people used to fix things. Now
Yeah.
you can't fix them. You have to buy new.
Right.
So you
Yeah,
can't
a lot of
reuse
time.
something a lot of times.
No.
So you're replacing them every couple of years, and it's thousands of dollars.
And that takes your time. You have to go pick it
Yeah.
out. You have to get it
Mhm.
installed.
And to that point, that's one of the things that we've really done well is we actually modeled a lot of our processes after acquiring us or going after a certain kind of customer. And that customer is Amy.
Yeah.
I think she's calling me a consumer.
Yeah.
Incredibly meticulous, wants things done right. And so when we were building our flex spaces, our studio spaces, and our dwell spaces, so they're kind of in tiers, like from small to large, we were like, what elements really need to belong here?
Yeah.
So we kind of think of the flex spaces as, that's your backyard office. Maybe you want to have a bathroom in it, maybe you don't. It's your art studio, whatever. So that's really just a small open room, maybe with or without a bathroom. Then we've got the studios, and we really had so much conversation about this. We really got into it with the architects, and we're like, who would live in one of these buildings that's, 300 to 400 square feet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, someone who's really like low key, low maintenance, like it doesn't want to do their laundry, or if it's going to be a rental unit. So we really built that. We designed it with that in mind. These people aren't going to want to wash their clothes. They're not wanting to serve Thanksgiving dinner in here.
Yeah.
That
It could even be mom and dad.
Yeah.
And again, you're in there, you have the kitchenette so that you can prepare simple, easy things. You might be warming up some
Right.
dinner for them. Maybe you're making their breakfast in there or whatever, but we're not hosting dinner in here.
Right. Whereas with our larger models, which are over 400 square feet up to about 1,500, I mean, it's equipped to build a whole meal. You want to have a couple of friends over. You're not going to host like 14 or 15 people over to your
You
house.
could have mahjong night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a bunko house. It's a mahjong house.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
I just started playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you play?
No, but I've always wanted to learn how to play.
Yes, we should
There
do a
are
game night.
gals, and I'll connect you. There
Yes.
are gals that teach you. And I went to a party to learn it.
Really?
And then they did a follow-up game night.
Oh, how fun.
Really?
And they kept teaching us. Because
Wow.
it's kind of
Let's
a lot.
do it.
it's
so
something
fun.
that
Do
I've
it.
literally
I
always
need to
wanted
go
to
to
learn,
this
like my
party.
whole
I'm
life,
telling you.
weirdly. Yeah.
I just learned about but I do see that this is a trend catching us. So that's why I'm kind of joking. Because
Yeah.
then all the ladies that went to that became super obsessed. I mean, it's a good game.
Immediately
fun.
after
Very
this
cool.
podcast, I'm going to accost Amy and ask her, who are you going to that with?
Yeah. How funny. Well, is there anything that you feel like anything else you want to share with our listeners or touch on, regarding Elbow Room?
I think the one thing about Elbow Room is we have a lot of heart. We really, truly care about our customers, the experience, and that when they walk away from us, they feel like this is a purchase they would make over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because it really serves what they need and the experience was a good one. And every decision that we make, from whether it's our process or our branding or anything in between, it is how does this serve our customer? And we know who our customer is, and we think that we've really laid something out that's going to fit their needs. And So I want everyone to know, like, the customer is the heart of our company. That is really who we are there to serve with these small spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll add on to that too, is that as we've learned our customers and gotten to know what it is that we do and we do well, we've started to offer a little bit more. And we've been really careful and thoughtful about what we want to get into as we build. And so we know that when we're in the backyard that they frequently are like, had a great experience with us and they want us to do a little bit more. And so we've thought about what would really serve that client and finish out that space for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have added landscaping packages with different looks. All of it works with Central Texas, plant-wise.
And we partnered with Zen Natives to come up with those
Love her.
designs.
She's
And
awesome.
she's
Yes.
amazing. Go ahead.
Yes. And we have also added cabanas, which are really, they're fantastic. And that also kind of translates into carports, we think. So we haven't done them as a carport, but that is coming soon, especially in Austin.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's amazing. Well, I just want to thank you guys for being on here today. I feel like I've learned a lot about tiny homes, being in real estate. It's so interesting to me to see the trends and like the way things are going. And so can you really quickly share with our listeners how they can reach out to you about your services?
Well, we're on elbowroom.com and all the information is there. If you want to talk to someone, call 210-854-4023. You can find us on Instagram at _elbow_room_. We're not hard to find because we picked such a simple name and then we went and bought it.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, again, thank you guys for being on.
Thank you.
This was great.
Yeah, I
for
really
having
appreciate
us.
you having us.
Of course.
And you have such an awesome thing going on with Working Moms of San Antonio.
Oh, you're
so
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 really
if you're a
beautiful.
working mom out there, like, get on board, come down here, join the club, do the co-working, do all the things. It is such a supportive community, and thank you for that.
Oh, thank you so much.
We
I
love our
hearing that.
members.
Yeah.
We love it. And I love the fact that it's a family-owned business. I really do.
Yeah.
It just makes it so much more special.
Fits San Antonio very well.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I'll thank our listeners for tuning in to this week's episode, and we will catch you next week.
See you guys next week.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Working Moms of San Antonio podcast. We hope you loved today's chat and found a little inspiration to take with you into your week. If you have a podcast topic suggestion or a question you'd love for us to cover, definitely send us an email at hello@workingmomsofsanantonio.com. We'd love to hear from you. And until next time, see you in the community.